Welcome back. So this time we're going to be doing the Fanhome release of Build the Ghostbusters Ecto 1. This is issue 6, which is stages 15 through 18. And we're going to be kind of working on front suspension again. We'll eventually get both wheels on this time. We're going to be installing the engine into the car and working on a bit more of the front area. So this will be fun. So let's get to it. Alright, so first thing we're going to be doing is working on the lower right suspension arm. So we'll be adding this piece into here. And since it's going into metal, we'll be using EM screws, but we'll be dipping them in some oil as we go along. Alright, the second one going in. Next thing we'll be doing is fitting this little plastic knob here onto here, and it'll be going in from underneath with a GP screw. Alright. Alright, next we'll be taking the upper suspension arm and more or less doing the same thing. We've got this piece, this one goes in here and it's going This doesn't happen very often, but every now and again in the powder coating process of these pieces, there's going to be a little bit of extra on here, and it's keeping it from really going on. Yeah, it's much better. Alright, and then that gets attached there with 2 EM screws. Alright, and then this little guy is going to go into this piece. These two pieces aiming down. And that's going in with EM screws as well. Okay, so that's that. Now we're going to get our little chassis piece over again. We're going to take the piece that we just did. We're going to pop it into these two holes here, and then that gets attached from the underside with a pair of HM screws. Alrighty, we're going to be fitting this side, going around this way, basically into here, and we're going to be attaching it with a couple of clips here. These two guys. And those are going in with IM screws. Okay. You want everything tight, but you still want this to be able to move. Put this out of the way a little bit. We're going to start assembling the brake drum, and this piece goes into here. These two holes line up with these two, and it gets attached from the other side with a pair of EM screws. Oh, this one. Well, as things happen, we are about 10 days beyond where we last left off. And, you know, that little piece that seemed to fly off the table and was never heard from again, well, it was never heard from again. So I spent about 3 hours that day on my hands and knees looking through stuff, moving things, cleaning areas, trying to find anywhere that it could possibly go, and I couldn't find it. So I got another issue 15 for this piece and this piece that flew off the table, and let's get back to it. So things happen. All right, let's get back to it. Okay, so where we left off was attaching the steering arm to the brake plate, and then we're going to be attaching this to, let's see if that's right side around. It appears to be. Okay, so we're going to be attaching the other half of the brake plate to the assembly here with some HP screws. Okay, and that's the third one. Now we're going to be attaching this to the frame. Okay, so the way we're going to do that is we're going to be attaching this piece over the top of this piece with a JM screw. Okay, that's better. So it will still turn this way, but there's not a lot of play in it otherwise. All right, now we're going to flip the whole apparatus over. We are then going to, actually I'm not going to flip it over just yet. We're going to lift this up. We're going to put a spring in here. And then we're going to close this down like this, flip this over, compress the spring as best we can, and then through here into the arm again, we're going to be using an IM screw. All right. Not this tight, but not so tight that you can't turn the wheels. Okay. There we go. All right. Very nice. Now, on this other side again, we're going to be taking this and there's a little keyhole pattern here. Pop that through. Make sure the little keyhole pattern goes into here. And then we're going to be attaching it on this side with an HM screw. Just got to make sure it's lined up. All right. Then the only real thing there is left to do, and actually since that went in, this loosened up a little bit, so because that tightened it down a little bit more, so I'm going to just give it a half turn. The last thing to do then is to take this little control arm here, attach that to that side and this to this side, and let's see. We'll do this side first. This is going in with an HM screw through here. Just like that. And then we're putting this other side in this way. Screw from the underside with a KM screw, and that's one of these little flanged guys. Alright. And that's that stage done. And no further mishaps. Alright, so in issue 16, we're going to be working on, or stage 16 rather, we're going to be working on the front suspension and the steering. So I'll get this all opened up and be right back. Alright, so the first thing we're going to be doing is starting on the stabilizing bar. So we have these little linkages here. It's going to go into the recessed area on each side of this first thing, and then these get held in from this side with a BP screw in each side. Right. And then pulling the chassis back over again, we add the stabilizing bar to the underside here, again with the BP screw. And the second side in. Fiddly. Alright, now we're going to be taking these little brackets here, and we're going to be putting them in with 2 BM screws on each side. Now I just have to figure out which side goes with which. There is a little tab here. So that little, there's like a little pin that's going to help line everything up. Alright, so that's all set. Let's set this aside a little bit. We're going to be taking out this little part here. And one of these. Alright, so it's the one that has the shaft coming up. We're going to be inserting that into that hole and keeping this in with a flanged KM screw. Alright, so it's in tight, but it still moves freely. Now, I'm going to be flipping this over. We're going to be attaching this to this side with an LM screw. Just like that, make sure it's secure. And then we're going to be flipping this back over again. And we're going to be attaching this to this here and here with a DM screw. Alright, just like that. It still should swivel and turn. Now we're going to be flipping this guy back over again. And then into this detail area here, we're going to be placing this guy like that. And they're going to be held in with an LM screw here, a DM screw here. So I'll do the DM screw first. We're going to be adding this little piece here for the steering. That drops through that hole. And flip all this over, and this gets this piece is really only one way it can go on. So that's going to go on like that. This arm gets attached to this piece here with a DM screw, and then the entire thing gets attached here with another DM screw. Alright, should all still turn. Very good. Alright, so we're going to be attaching the steering column. Now, at the top of this, there's a little notched area, that is supposed to go on the underside. So when we put this in, it will be something like this, I believe. How does that go? Okay. So it looks like this entire thing sort of rests between the bracket here, and then we put this housing over the top to hold the whole thing together and hold it in place. And then this gets attached with DM screws on this side, MM screws on this side. Right, and as with most things that have multiple screws, I put them in loosely to start with, make sure everything is lined up, and then tighten the whole business down. Alright, so then with any luck, it's hard to see, but when you turn the steering wheel, or turn the wheels, the steering wheel does rotate. Or the steering wheel shaft rotates. That's pretty neat. Alright, now, the moment we've all been waiting for. We're actually going to put the engine in. Let me get a softer mat to put down. Right back. Alright. So, the motor comes over. It's going to fit in something like that. I'm just going to make sure it's all lined up. Looks like we are going to be putting in a couple of IM screws on the other side here. And where do those go? Good question. Let's go. Oh, okay. All right. So the IM screws, once it's all lined up, go in here and here. So let's do that now. Seems pretty good. And then there's going to be an LM screw. An LM screw that goes down on this end. Is that lined up? No, it's not lined up. So I backed these two screws off so I could get this guy lined up in there. And again, if I'd have just followed my own advice, I wouldn't have put that one in there quite so hard the first time. All right, now let's tighten these guys down. Okay. Well, doesn't that look fun? Okay, and then the last thing we're doing is we're putting these two power steering hoses between this hub here and the power steering assembly here. Okay, those are those attached. Now, one last thing we have to do in this issue, here in this stage, we have to add a wheel. So that's pretty exciting. Okay. All right, and the way we do that, this is the left, or the left side front wheel. We're going to pop the wheel onto the hub here, and then this gets attached with an LM screw. Now I've popped the little hubcap off, or the what do we call it? Okay, so this gets attached with an LM screw. Do want to make it so you can roll it still, so don't tighten it down too far. All right, this I'm going to keep safe in a little box until later on, because if this is anything like the DeLorean, I can picture at some point needing to take these wheels off. So we'll do that, and then we will move on to stage 17, and that's all there is to do in this stage. Now for stage 17, we're making the other front wheel. So let's get this open and get that going. Alright, and exactly like the other wheel that we did previously, we pop, if there's a better side. This looks like the better side to me, so I'm going to pop this in this side, because this will be the outside. And then we line this up on the back side. And we attach this with 3 CM screws. Alright, here's the last one. I hadn't remembered how hard you had to crank these pieces together. This tire is very stiff. It's made of rubber, but this tire is very, very stiff, and you really got to horse down on these babies to get those short screws in there. Alright, with that, we're going to be putting the hubcap over the top. A little hole goes with the air nipple. Come on. There we go. Alright, and then just like the other side, we're going to be attaching this guy onto this side. With an LM screw. Not so tight as to make that so you can't turn it. Still a little tight. Better. Alright, that's good. Okay. You don't want these loose at all. Alright, and then also just like the other side, I'm going to be putting the this little cap into a safe box so I can have it for later. Alright, now along with this we've got 2 lengths of rubber tubing. We have a shorter one and a bit of a longer one. It looks like this longer one goes onto the brakes on the right hand side. There's a little nipple there. You put that on. And then you bring this around, and it ties into this little junction here. Is there a specific one it goes to? Looks like it goes to this one on this side. If you need your tweezers, you can use those. So that's on like that. And then this shorter one, do the same thing on the other side here. That's there. And this will go onto this opposite side one here. Yep, just like that. And now we got brakes. And that, my friends, is all there is to do in that pack. Now on to stage 18. Alright, in stage 18 looks like we're going to be attaching the front chassis to the front of the framework that we've been working on. Alright, only 6 parts in this pack, but this guy is all metal. That's nice. Alright, so first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be attaching these 2 little parts to this. These are plastic, and there is a single screw that goes to hold those in, but there's also a little pin that lines this up. So these go in on each of these sides with an EM screw. Alright. Bring the front section over again. This gets flipped over, and it goes in right like this, and then it gets attached in these 4 spots with DM screws. Alright. This last couple of parts. Alright, and then you flip this guy over one more time. Probably should have the mat out again. Do it like that. And then these parts, let's see how the orientation here. These parts are going to be going somehow. These parts are going to be going basically like this. And then they get held in each side here with an HM screw. Alright. And with those 2 parts attached, that is all there is to do in that stage, and that's all there is to do in that pack. Alright, well, it took a little time to get there, but we're finally caught up again. I believe that next set should be Build anytime, and then probably because of the Thanksgiving holiday, it's pushed back a little smidge, but it's starting to look like something. It's getting heavy, so that's something. There's some things coming up that that I wanted to bring up. There's it doesn't look like it looks like the version of this that was in England and offered to England, or at least through the original company that was putting it out, had special issues with proton packs and a ghost trap. It does not look like that will be available to us currently, which is a little sad. I was able to find a couple of those on eBay, and I would think that you guys could do the same. It's special packs A and B, basically. Although the one I have are both listed as A. So let me grab that. So basically, this is how they were supposed to come. So it's like special number 1 had 2 proton packs in it. There's 2 of them there. They're going to need a little work, but you know, better than nothing. I have seen on Etsy somebody doing 3D printed kits of these as well. So you could do that. Or I think that our friend at Scaled Mods is going to be, Corey is going to be eventually making little proton packs too. So keep an eye out for that. Find him on Facebook, Scaled Mods, M-O-D-Z. And if you want, tell him I sent you, but it's not necessary. It's not going to get you anything. Not going to get me anything. So anyway. And then the other one that I ordered, I thought I was just gonna end up with the same thing again. It says Special 01 again, but this one has the ghost trap in it, and I thought that was Special 02, but I don't know. So, but like I say, I was able to find those on eBay, coming from the UK. I have asked Fanhome about the base, because there's an enormous base that was available also, and I've seen those on eBay for like $200 or $300, plus shipping from England. Doesn't sound fun. So but it's like a gigantic, you know, base that has a mirror in it, so you can see underneath it and the whole business. So anyway, so as we get going, and we move along, well, it's fun. So in the next section, in the backs of these issues, they put on there what is coming in the next pack. So looks like we have floorboards, floor pans, probably the back part of the chassis. Who knows what? But so that'll be fun. Anyway, so that should be coming soon. I'm happy to be done with the engine. I know the DeLorean build, the engine seemed to go on literally forever. It was like, you know, several. I mean, this was only a couple of issues worth, or a couple of stages worth. That the DeLorean one, my goodness, it seemed, and it, I don't know. I'm not a car guy, so. You know, the engine is fun. I can picture probably opening the hood of this to show somebody the engine, maybe once. I don't know. But anyway, but it's in there. But but I know the DeLorean, it's like it's so packed with all the stuff sitting on top of the engine in the back, all the time machine stuff, that you're never going to see it. Oh my God, you're never going to see it. And it was just issue after issue after issue after issue after issue. And it seemed to take 6 months to do just the engine that you're never going to see. So, but it's in there. Anyway, enough of my ranting. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. This is in the U.S. anyway. This is Thanksgiving. It's a couple days after Thanksgiving now. And gearing up for Christmas. Fortunately or unfortunately, Christmas air time is always our super busy time at my regular real work. So, we generally work on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, and then get a few days off in between Christmas and New Year's. So, anyway, hopefully the next stage will be coming to my mailbox soon, and I can get going on it. So, and I may do some other little videos and stuff, because there's some things that I wanna play with, that might be of some sort of interest. Anyway, all right, but I appreciate you watching, the few of you that do, and if you want to click, subscribe and give me a thumbs up, that would be fun. Otherwise, I will see you next time with whatever I'm doing, and have a safe and wonderful holiday season, all of you. All right, take care. Thanks again. Bye bye.